Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Doodle Robot and today we're going to do the spacetember tag. Oh, you're jumping up and down here a little bit. Sorry about that. This is started by Soraya Colors on Instagram. I'll link her channel for you on Instagram in the description below. A bunch of colorists are doing this. And I'll link them in the description below as well, as far as I know. And I'm tagging, anybody can do these questions. Soraya has invited everybody to do them. So I'll just piggyback on that and we'll say, if you see this and you have a channel and you want to do it, you can also answer them on Instagram. Just put them in your description. You can do it there. So we are working in, while I'm talking, I'm going to be pretending to color here. It's hard to talk in color sometimes. I'm working in Creative Haven's Entangled Starry Skies by Angela Porter. I'm trying out my new arm here, and it seems to be hopping up and down, so I don't know how this is going to work, but sorry if I make you dizzy. And I picked this owl page. I've already done the background with Prismacolor Grade Lavender. I don't know if that's going to show up for you or not. And I'm doing the owls. I've kind of got this color scheme going on here. I think I'm going to do at least 3 of the owls, this pink scheme here. Maybe the other 2 owls this scheme, or maybe they will be pink. And maybe this scheme will be for the trees. I'm not really sure yet. But I figured I'd color an owl, maybe 2, while we answer the spacetember tag questions. All right, for my owls, let's see here. All of my, oh my gosh, my Prismacolors are so sad. They are all little nubs, it seems like. I've got pomegranate, this is processed red, this is hot pink, and this is deco pink. And I probably should have sharpened them before I started. I've got my handy dandy favorite sharpener there. All right, let's see here. I actually will sharpen this. There's only 7 questions, so hopefully it's not going to take too terribly long to answer them all. I'm like a space geek and sci-fi nerd, so I naturally did research. And I've collected my thoughts, and I have some answers written off to the side here. Okay, so let's get you kind of centered there so you can see, but I can't. So, hopefully my head won't be going in the shot here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on this owl here, you can see some areas are blended color. When doing these like doodly little creatures and stuff, I love them. In some areas I will blend colors, like here I think I blended 3 of the colors, here I blended 4 of the colors, here I blended 3 I think. That's on his little eye. On his body I just colored straight. His feet are colored straight. Here was a very intricate design that was just too tiny to get into, so I just kind of block colored each section. So there's a mixture of block coloring and blending of colors, and sometimes, depending on the design, sometimes I just block color everything. So it varies. I think here, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 colors, so I think I'm just going to go in order. Am I going to go in out or in is the question. Let's see. I think I'll go out. Okay, so while I'll do that, it's going to be easier for me just to block color while I'm trying to talk here. All right, so question number 1, favorite space memory. All right, so way back when, nearly 30 years ago, my first teaching gig was at a reservation school. It was for the Tohono O'odham Nation. I taught there in Sells, Arizona. I taught art, of course, and I think in year 2 or 3, I can't remember which year, um, we got to go. All of the teachers were invited to the Kitt Peak Observatory. And, we had to go in the middle of the night because that's when you watch the stars. And they did this for us. This, this is how this came about. Apparently, the principal just liked to, they needed dark, so it's located out there in the middle of nowhere. It was, again, another middle of nowhere job that I had. But, I really wanted to. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is really wobbly. I'm definitely going to have to mount my shelf, I think. And apparently the principal was supposed to give them the times of when the football field lights would be on. And apparently, he wasn't very good at that. So I guess instead of getting in a big fight about it, they just worked it out so that all the teachers who wanted to go, there was limited space. You had to sign up early, and, they said space, and I'm like, on it, I'm on it, I'm on it. So we all got to go. We all got to take the little school bus to the observatory, and they gave us our own physicists. And we didn't get to play with the machines, but they worked the machines for us, and we got a tour of the whole place. We got to look at the stars. It was so awesome. It was so cold. I think it was only spring or fall, I can't remember which, but because you go up really high to the observatory, and it was just so cold. I mean, they told us it was going to be cold, and I wore a coat, but, I'm like little girl from Phoenix here, or I shouldn't say that, yeah, young woman from Phoenix here, and I don't understand what cold is, I'm used to 122 degrees, so that was such an amazing space experience. So that's a good memory. And then I think my only other space-related memory would have to be my recent trip to Roswell, New Mexico. That was a bucket list item because gotta go see the Kitch. It was so awesome. I didn't really give myself enough time as I was traveling between states and moving to my new state here. But I'm like, oh, who knows if I'll ever have time to get back there. So I gave myself, a half a day to go check out all the kooky things that they have. And I'm totally convinced that aliens visited Roswell. I'm just like, the evidence is overwhelming. And I have a video if you want to see that. And yes, the black cars no longer follow me around. It's all good. So you can go check out my Roswell video if you're interested. All right, number 2 is favorite space movie. I have to stop coloring here because I have a list. So I've got a list, and I'm going to go from 5 to 1 for space movie. But first, I'm going to say the honorable mentions that didn't make the top 5. Because we can't just leave it at 1. I mean, gosh, there's a lot of good movies out there that involve space. We didn't even get into sci-fi and stuff like that. It would have been huge. But honorable mentions, not in any particular order here, I'm just reading down the list. Total Recall, both of them. I believe that's based on an Asimov book. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Blade Runner, both of them. Also, I think, based on an Asimov book. Contact, Galaxy Quest, a wonderful spoof of Star Trek, so hilarious. And Tony Shalhoub is in that, the monk guy. He's good. Guardians of the Galaxy, love that. Those make me cry. Am I the only one who cries in those movies? And I think there was a third that I haven't seen, but I'm sure I'm going to love it. Gravity, Flash Gordon, Flash Gordon is very, oh, my word's not coming to me. It's very, nope, I'll think of it in a second. We'll come back to that. And Dune. Those are all in the honorable mentions. So, starting with number 5, we'll work up to number 1. We've got The Fifth Element, also campy. That's the word I'm looking for. Flash Gordon's very campy. The Fifth Element is also very campy. I love campy. it just works for sci-fi and space things, I think. Campy does. Okay, coming in at 5. Coming in at 4, we got The Martian with, what's his name? Good Will Hunting guy. Can't think of it either. Anyways, moving on. Number 3, we have Serenity. So what order will 2 and 1 fall in? Number 2 goes to Star Trek. Sorry, Star Trek. I think Star Trek's specialty is long format series, TV series. And so the number 1 spot goes to Star Wars. Notice that on my list is not 2001: A Space Odyssey. It makes every list as number 1. I don't even like that movie. I find it so boring. But anyway, moving on. I don't know why. Yes, I give it to Star Wars. And within Star Wars, my favorite, now when the first 3 came out, my favorite movie was number 1, the one that started it all. I think they call that A New Hope now. When the second 3 came out, my new favorite movie was number 3, where Darth Vader turns into Darth Vader. And once 7, 8, and 9 came out, my favorite movie is 7, 8, and 9. So we can't break it down into one movie. That whole triptych of the movies is my favorite. All right, and the next question is favorite space TV series. All right, again, I'm not coloring because I have to read my list here. I have some honorable mentions because I couldn't leave them off the list, but the honorable mentions are in no particular order here. Doctor Who, which surprisingly I have not seen a lot of those. I know, that's kind of weird, but I haven't seen a lot of them. But I do like Doctor Who. Lex is another really campy sci-fi show, right up there with like Flash Gordon campy. I mean, and it's for adult viewing. Because wow, they have some odd things. If you get a chance to rent that or whatever, do so. There's a show called V back in the 80s or 90s. I want to say the 80s. With the Beastmaster guy. I can't remember his name because it was 40 years ago. I think they remade that, but I don't think I saw the next V. Farscape, again, very campy. Andromeda was good. Unfortunately, the lead character in that turned into a whack job. Earth Final Conflict was good. I don't think that lasted very long. Stargate and Battlestar Galactica are kind of tied for 5th place in the final countdown. I don't know which one to put first. I mean, Stargate has 3 series of that, and one of the series last 10 years just goes on and on forever. And Battlestar Galactica and Caprica are both fabulous. So, number 4 for TV shows comes in Firefly. And Serenity was number 3 on my movie list. Serenity is like Firefly had its few shows. It didn't last very long, 12 or 13 episodes, I think. And then it had a movie called Serenity. That made my number 3 on my movies list. So Firefly was number 4. Number 3 is Star Wars, the TV series. Now, I haven't seen them all. I've seen a few of the Grogu ones and the Obi-Wan Kenobi one. Great. They were fabulous. And I'm sure whatever things have come out since then, I don't have TV or internet, so I haven't seen them. I used to see them because my boss let me use his Netflix or whatever, his Disney account to watch them when I was in the middle of nowhere. And so I don't think Star Wars TV is Star Wars best medium. I think they're much better at their big, huge movies. Number 2, shocker, is Star Trek. Poor Star Trek just comes in at number 2 everywhere. And as you know, I love Star Trek. Star Trek is fabulous. I mean, I think I was, 6 or 7 when I started watching the reruns after school. So I was an early Trekkie. I mean, that's what did it for me. That's what made me a sci-fi geek. And so it gets special mention. It could be almost tied for first place. But First place in TV space movies has got to go to all of us who are aficionados of this category, Babylon 5. Babylon 5 is the swan song of all TV series, sci-fi TV series. It had a spin-off, Crusade, which only had a few episodes. It was good. It might have become really good like that, but Babylon 5 is special amongst TV series because in Babylon 5, so in Star Trek and Star Wars, you have good guys and bad guys. It's pretty black and white. There's not many shades of gray. There's more shades of gray probably in Star Trek, and usually it's the weekly episode with the guest star that's like represents the shade of gray. And then you kind of have the bad guys and good guys that center around that. And, you know, Star Trek answers today. Star Trek is always about things that are happening in society today. It's not about space in the future. It's all it's presented in the future, but it's always about stuff that's happening in our world today. Babylon 5 is all shades of gray. And also, the cast members in Babylon 5, they're all ensemble casts usually. All the movies and TV things. The cast in Babylon 5, half of them are aliens, and the other half are humans. And in the supporting cast members, half are aliens and half are humans. Whereas in Star Trek and Star Wars, they're mostly human-centric with an alien thrown in. So it's unique in that way. But in Babylon 5, right in the pilot, they give you what's going to happen. Like, you don't know if that's what's going to happen. They foreshadow it. I think they almost like outright tell you. But there's these two characters that end up here. There's kind of bad guy and good guy. And through the course of 5 years, they totally switch places. But not only that, the bad guy, who is a Narn, who's named Jakar, he goes from being a manufactured kind of like terrorist type. And when I say manufactured, over the course of 5 years, we come to learn that the good guy, Londo, a Centaurian, something like that. Apparently, Centauri homeworld government, their foreign policy, this will sound very familiar, is to see that the Narn homeworld is rich with resources. So they go, they take it over, you know, they beat them in war, they take over, they strip their world of all its important resources. They enslave the people, basically in open-air prisons. They put them into servitude. They kill a lot. I mean, most of them are dead. But the ones who are left, you know, are left to serve or be in jail, whatever. So he is a manufactured bad guy. He was created by the Centauri government's foreign policy, basically. I don't know. Does that sound familiar at all? So over the course, like I said, they slowly trade places. We learned that, you know, oh, these are his motives. And, you know, Londo is always claiming, it's not my fault, I wasn't a part of it. Well, he was. But they do some horrible, horrible things to Jakar. I mean, he gets tortured, he gets imprisoned, his eyeball is removed. I mean, like these horrible, horrible things. And in the end, he actually turns into a prophet or a Buddha. He turns into like a Buddha-like figure. And some of his speeches and quotes and stuff like that are just awe-inspiring. So his journey, which is a horrible journey, but he turns into like a Buddha-like figure, or Gandhi or Mother Teresa, something like that, Lao Tzu. I don't say the other names because they have been so transgressed upon by their altered meanings that we can't include them in that conversation anymore, in my opinion. But it's an amazing character arc for those two characters, and the ending is fabulous. there are many other characters. They're not even the lead characters. There are many other characters that have really good character arcs and grapple with, shades of gray stuff. Less so than those two, but you just don't see that much in a TV show where people or aliens aliens are real like that. So I got to go with Babylon 5 just for the amazing writing of and vision of J. Michael Straczynski. All right, so that was a long answer for that, but I'm passionate about this subject. All right, number 4, favorite space coloring book. All right, I got 2. I'm gonna have to go with, and I did a whole video, so I'm not gonna get the books out and show you, but I did a whole video on all of my space books. I actually left one off, Lost Forest. Sorry about that. Which has a lot of space things in it. My favorite 2 are Alien Worlds, Kirby Roseanne's swan song, probably his best book, and Creative Haven's Future Worlds. And if you want to see those, you can hop on over to all of my space books video for Spacetember. They are amazing. Favorite supplies to color space. Well, I'm not sure. I've only colored one space, proper universe space picture. I've started it. It's an Alien Worlds, and I did it with granulating watercolor. So I have in my day, I came from doing big abstract expressionist paintings, like mural size, and I used to do space backgrounds all the time, and of course I did those with acrylic paint. But that was big and on the wall, and so acrylic paint would have to be my favorite way to do space. I just haven't done a lot of it in coloring books because I can't wrap my mind around the tiny little space that is available for me to do space, coming from wall-sized murals. So I've avoided it thus far because I'm like, well, if I were on a wall, I would know how to do this with acrylic paint, but I have this, and then you got to go around all these things. On the wall, I would do the background first. You're not, and then put in the middle ground and foreground stuff last, well, as you should when you do art. But in coloring books, we got to color around everything, so I have been daunted by that, and I have not done much space because of that. So, a problem to be solved in the future. Number 6, favorite colored space page. Well, you saw it already on this video. In my introduction, I've showed it many times. It's Johanna Basford from, I want to say, Magical Jungle. There's an underwater scene where I put in a little plateau and a space alien is underwater watching the little fish. I altered that page. And I've showed it many times, so I don't feel the need to show it here again. And it's in my intro, so it's I think it's the first little picture that comes up in the intro. So you've seen it there already today. Let's see. Number 7. What do I love about the space theme? Well, I was an early kind of sci-fi addict, and it was all because of Star Trek. And Star Trek is all about hope. And I immediately latched onto that. And even as a youngster, you can figure out what Star Trek is about. And so for me, space is all about the metaphor of hope, or of, as Spock would say, the possibilities. And in my mind, I think of the possibilities of humanity. We are very much locked in, and have been my whole life locked in this very struggly time of, people fighting for what they call precious resources. And actually, I personally think we've moved beyond that. We have the technology to handle anything. It's just that those haves who have don't want to share with the have-nots. We could solve every problem we have today if we had the mindset to do it, but it doesn't seem that the rich can ever be satisfied with what they have. So space to me is humanity's more just and ethical future. It's a metaphor for that to me, personally. Number 8, favorite space quote. Well, I say it all the time. One of them, live long and prosper. Another one is going to be, the monologue or whatever, the intro of Star Trek. These are the, space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds and seek out new life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. That's a good one. I gotta go with, though, for my favorite, and you'll see why. My little dot thing, my little icon thing. Deep Thought said, and this is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Deep Thought said, Deep Thought is a supercomputer that spent 7.5 million years contemplating this answer, collecting evidence and forming this answer. And he said, the answer to the universe, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42. So I gotta go with that one for my answer to space quotes. Although there are so many. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I love to listen to, he makes my IQ goes up when I listen to him. It's too bad he's married, because I would marry him in a second. And let's see here. This is how much I got done. Was I even in frame for that? Last question. Would you travel in space? Yes. All right. I got so much done. I got 2 circles of his eyeballs done. Let me know what you think about my color scheme. Should I do all the owls pink and have the trees be this color? I do have a nice leaf color in mind that is kind of like a different orange than these, but it's super bright and cool. I'm thinking of doing the stars dark for a change. I'm just thinking outside the box here. Let me know what you think. Give me some ideas here. That is it for the space tag questions for Soraya's Spacetember. I hope you all join in and do the tag. Please do it. And I'll see you next time. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.